What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. WWE Monday Night Raw review for last night's show live from Albany, New York on May 5th, 2014. But before I get into talking about the most important aspects of last night's show, guys, a few reminders. If you guys did indeed miss my Extreme Rules 2014 review and results, yes, I did review the show, but under different circumstances. I did something new, totally unexpected, and out of left field. I did a live Google Hangouts where I just sat down for an hour and 10 minutes and I hung out with you guys and talked wrestling for a whole hour following the pay-per-view. Took me a little bit to figure out, took me a little bit to understand, but in the end, I think it's going to be something good. I know it was very, very late, very last minute on short notice, but at Payback, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give you guys a full couple of days in advance so you guys can, figure out your schedules and sit down and join me following the pay-per-view. If you want to ask me any questions, if you want to talk about the pay-per-view, current topics in WWE, I'm looking forward to doing this once a month following every pay-per-view. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to differentiate, my pay-per-view reviews from the rest of the WWE content that I do. So look forward to that. If you guys did indeed miss the review and the question and answer to follow, link is down below towards the very top. Go check that out. It's definitely worth your time. Also, Off The Script. Now, with Friday, Saturday, and Sunday reviews of all news and rumors. My thoughts and opinions all weekend long. If you guys did not get the memo, if you missed any one of the parts that I posted this weekend, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 for Off The Script, those links are also down below. I got a lot of news stories this week that I covered. If you missed it, go check that out. Again, a worthy listen. I cut it up into 3 parts because I think it's going to be better for me, it's going to be better for you guys, and it's going to expand my WWE content. So go and check that out if you did indeed miss that stuff, okay? Now, Monday Night Raw review for last night's show, May 5th. Monday Night Raw, I'm not going to bash the show. It did not feel like a fallout show for Extreme Rules. It was a decent show. The action in the ring upheld its part of the bargain. We had Daniel Bryan versus Del Rio, which was a surprisingly great match. I'm not a big fan of Del Rio, but anytime Daniel Bryan is involved, he always makes someone look good. Okay, you had the Shield versus the Wyatts. Nowhere near their Elimination Chamber Classic, but anytime these guys get in the ring, it's always something to watch anyway. So that was a decent match. You had the 20-man Battle Royal for the United States Championship. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I actually want to talk about that first. But the show was action-packed. There was parts in there that, were quality wrestling. It was an action show. But the one thing that left me wanting more was the fact that the WWE didn't really progress anywhere. It's the same recycled bullshit from Extreme Rules. And that's all it is. This show felt like a recycled version of what we've been seeing. It's just leading into a Payback pay-per-view this time around instead of Extreme Rules. All the 3 matches from Extreme Rules, the big matches, the Shield versus Evolution, Bray Wyatt versus John Cena, and Daniel Bryan versus Kane, they're all going to be recycled for Payback. And that's not interesting to me. This is WWE being lazy. This is WWE not wanting to step outside the box and produce something new. I don't want to see recycled matches that I've seen. These feuds should have ended. Everything excluding the Shield and Evolution should have been done and over with. Bray Wyatt should be moving on. John Cena should be moving on. Daniel Bryan should be moving on. Kane should be out of the WWE Championship picture. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm very, very disappointed in what they're doing with Daniel Bryan right now. This is the last thing that I wanted for Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan last night, to me, and I even tweeted this out, and a lot of you agreed with me. I was being sarcastic about, mentioning Vince in my tweet last night, but it's a damn great way that Vince is treating his WWE champion. Having him run in fear from another WWE superstar. I don't care what Kane's character is. I don't care about Kane as a wrestler. Kane is well past his prime. I don't want to see Kane involved in major programs anymore. Okay? We know Kane is not going to overcome Daniel Bryan. We know Kane is not going to be the WWE champion. But what I don't understand is that Daniel Bryan just came off the biggest moment in his career by beating Triple H, by beating Randy Orton, and by beating Batista all in one night at WrestleMania, winning the WWE Championship, and then you have him 1 month later, following the biggest night of his life, running in fear from another WWE superstar? Your WWE Champion is scared and running away from another opponent? What kind of image, what kind of, what does that tell the viewer? What does that tell me? It tells me Daniel Bryan is a pussy. He's being booked as a pussy. Instead of being a man trying to protect his wife, who, by the way, did one of the worst acting jobs I think I've ever seen on a Monday Night Raw. It was so fucking bad that it was starting to make my ears bleed. Brie Bella's screaming was absolutely fucking terrible. It was unbelievable. You can tell she was trying too hard. It was horrible acting. It did nothing to make this storyline and this angle believable. It was just fucking garbage. Instead of being a man trying to protect his wife from a guy who clearly broke into his fucking rental car, trying to grab his wife's throat, all of a sudden he tries to get back into the driver's seat and speed off, and then Kane is on top of the car. He speeds off. Kane falls down to the concrete. That would have fucking crippled a normal man. Speeding out of the fucking driveway and landing that hard on the concrete. Kane's laid out. He raises up. Daniel Bryan's trying to see if he's alright. He runs back into the car and they speed away. That's what we seen last night. We seen Daniel Bryan, your WWE Champion, being booked like a fucking pussy. A fucking fairy. And that I have a problem with, because this is not what we needed Daniel Bryan to do. This is not what we needed Daniel Bryan to be booked as. Daniel Bryan needs to be booked as strong as possible. He needs to look like a legit threat as a WWE Champion. Everyone that gets in the ring with Daniel Bryan should be afraid of actually losing to Daniel Bryan. Because Daniel Bryan is the best wrestler in the industry right now. That's the way he needs to be booked. He doesn't need to be booked in a match with Kane, and he needs to fucking be running away. He should be booked as a man who's fucking not afraid of anything. He overcame all the fucking odds. He wants to throw his bullshit in his face in Triple H's authority and his business and stand up to Triple H, and all of a sudden he's running from Kane because Kane wears a red mask, because Kane is the demon. Why are you calling him the demon? He's not the fucking demon. Kane should be eliminated from any top storylines regarding WWE champions, top guys. Kane is done. I don't want to see Kane. Kane is sloppy. Kane is boring. And it's just, he's 15 years past what he's been doing, man. It's done. I don't want to see it anymore. Daniel Bryan is your champion. Book him as such. And I know you guys agree with me. If Daniel Bryan is running from Kane, what is he going to do? And one of my subs mentioned this on Twitter, and I told him I was going to use this in the review. If Daniel Bryan is running from Kane, what do you think he is going to do when Brock Lesnar, who is legit one of the fucking scariest individuals on the face of the earth, what is he going to do when Brock Lesnar is staring him directly in the face, waiting for a WWE Championship match? Because that's what we know is going to happen. Lesnar's coming back and he wants the title. It's going to happen. It's the only thing that makes any sense whatsoever. Lesnar beat the streak. He wants the title. Plain and simple. That's the way you got to book Brock Lesnar. What is Daniel Bryan going to do when Brock Lesnar is staring him directly in the face, wanting a title shot at SummerSlam? Is he going to run? Is he going to stand and fight? Is he going to fucking portray the same I don't take your bullshit attitude like he did with Triple H? He's going to have to. You're not going to run from Brock Lesnar. Then you might as well just take the belt off of him if you're going to treat him like a fucking fairy. So stupid. It just disappoints me and angers me that we see this kind of bullshit being booked, especially for Daniel Bryan. I'm done talking about it. That's my feeling on it. And the rumor, which I'm going to talk about on Off The Script this weekend, Kane versus Daniel Bryan in a Buried Alive match. When was the last time we seen one of those? Buried Alive at Payback, in which Daniel Bryan will be defending the WWE Championship against Kane at the next pay-per-view. Obviously, we know Daniel Bryan's not going to be buried alive. He's going to somehow, avenge the threats against his wife and bury Kane alive, and hopefully that'll be fucking once and for all. We get rid of Kane, and that's it. He can move on to something a little bit more meaningful, because what he's in right now is like a B-level, not even a B-level, a fucking D-level WWE Studios movie, because it's absolutely fucking pathetic. This is, it was cool for the first couple of weeks. You know, it was cool for the first couple of weeks leading into Extreme Rules. Now, after last night, it's a little bit overdone. I'm done with it. Move on. He doesn't need to be booked that way. Alright. As far as the United States Championship, I like what they did with Dean Ambrose, okay? Obviously, they made the Shield look like kings at Extreme Rules. They beat Evolution, they beat Triple H, Orton, and Batista, and for all those guys, I know a lot of guys on my Twitter and YouTube, and just in wrestling in general, portray Triple H with a shovel in his hand. He likes to bury talent. I know Smokey Dog usually talks about Triple H, and he mentioned this a couple of times on his Twitter. He laughs at how people, put down Triple H for burying other talent. Meanwhile, the man's put over Daniel Bryan and the Shield back-to-back pay-per-views. He knows what needs to be done as far as a business, in a business sense. He knows what needs to be done for the business. Obviously, he knows his future is going to rely on the guys that he's in the ring with. Bryan, Reigns, Ambrose, Rollins, the Wyatts. These are the guys he needs to be putting over. And he's done so, and he's did a great job at doing that. So, Triple H knows what he needs to do. Obviously, the toughest thing about Triple H is keeping himself relevant, keeping Evolution relevant, and keeping this storyline interesting. And he's done a great job at that, too, because anything regarding Triple H has been, worthy of the attention it's getting. It's been interesting, and all I can do is commend Triple H for his work lately. Everything he's done has been great. I have no complaints whatsoever. Especially last night. The Shield looked like kings, like I just mentioned, at Extreme Rules. They come around, and they had one hell of a bad night. I feel sorry for Shield fans, you guys who support the Shield. I like them. I'm a huge advocate of the Shield, but, it's great for storyline purposes to see these guys finally go through a fucking struggle and just get decimated and destroyed. Dean Ambrose lost the United States Championship last night in a very commendable way. I like that they did the Battle Royal because if you put Dean Ambrose in a one-on-one match and you just fucking immediately just beat the shit out of him, whoever he fights takes the belt off him, whatever. At least he was made to look strong in defeat. At least you can sympathize with the guy. That Triple H is ganging up on them. He put Ambrose in a tough situation. One guy against 20 to defend his championship, and, he made it difficult for Ambrose to walk out. You gotta be sympathetic for the guy because he lasted all the way up until the end. He showed signs of overcoming the authority all on his own, and then all of a sudden, Sheamus ends up winning the Battle Royal, is the new United States Champion, and it was a very decent way to open up the show. I like the way that they booked it. They made Ambrose look strong in defeat. You sympathize with Ambrose, and all of a sudden, Sheamus comes out of nowhere, wins the United States Championship. The belt needed to be switched. The belt needed to be taken off Ambrose because, it's just sitting around doing nothing. At least get it on a guy who's gonna, be a singles guy. He doesn't have anything else going on right now. Who's gonna fight every week. He's gonna defend it every week. He's gonna defend it more so than Ambrose. But, Ambrose can't make that belt relevant if he's, mixed in with Evolution, if he's doing all these six-man tags, and it's just part of the Shield who, is all the time in tag team matches. You rarely see them in one-on-one. They're always together. So it's tough to break Ambrose away from that to defend the United States Championship when he's got bigger things to worry about that are more important than the United States Championship. And, Sheamus is not the right guy to me. Sheamus, something needs to be done to refresh his character. Sheamus needs something to spice up his character because all I see is just this pasty white guy who came back from injury after 8 or 9 months and has not changed anything about his character. He didn't change anything. And to me, that's boring. That's unimaginative. It's stale. Now, the Sheamus that I want, some of the guys on Twitter that I follow were mentioning, listen, put him as a tweener. Put him as an in-between guy. You don't know if he's heel. You don't know if he's face. Give him some heel characteristics. Make him a dick. Give him some dick qualities. Instead of coming out and being cheese and smiling with his orange hair. Spice it up a little bit. And the promo that he cut last night with Renee Young, all he said was, no hard feelings, fella. I don't know if that was a sign that a heel turn is coming, but Sheamus really needs to spice up his character a little bit. And, I don't have any problem with Sheamus. I don't have any problem with Sheamus at all. I don't love him. I don't hate him. He's great to watch in the ring because the guy can fucking work. He's a workhorse. If you guys seen his match on Main Event against Bray Wyatt, unbelievable match, man. Unbelievable match. The guy knows how to work. The guy knows how to work the ring. He gels well with most of the guys he's in the ring with. It's just his character is stale. And if it was up to me, I wish the WWE would have threw us a curveball regarding the United States Championship. You know? Maybe give it to Fandango. Maybe give it to Damien Sandow, who's been struggling. Dolph Ziggler's name is always brought up. And then when Dolph Ziggler got eliminated last night, I was quick to fucking go on Twitter and say, listen, Ziggler is done. He just got eliminated by a fucking sock puppet. You know? How embarrassing is that for Ziggler? You know, the man's trying, and WWE just doesn't want to give him anything. You know? Who else was in the ring? Mark Henry was there. You know, there was a lot of guys in the ring that are just mid-card jobbers. They have no relevance whatsoever. They're on TV, but they're in nothing important. Sheamus was the only guy in that ring that actually stood out as a potential winner. I even took last night, I'm like, listen, Fandango, Ziggler, or Sandow. You know, one of those guys would be great U.S. champions. You know, put the belt on them. Make them seem important. Make those guys seem important. But Sheamus was the only one that stood out. Sheamus eventually won it. All I gotta say is, Sheamus needs to spice up his character. He needs to tweak that character a little bit, because if he continues down the same path, it's gonna get stale and boring very, very fast regarding the United States Championship. And the United States Championship needs to be brought up into relevancy. If you're not gonna bring it up, unify it with Wade Barrett. Maybe that's where they're going with this. Maybe they unify the titles, Barrett versus Sheamus, title versus title. You know? Who knows? That's an idea that they could do, that they could visit down the line. I don't know. But, you know, a lot of you guys in the question and answer said that a couple of the top level guys should come down to the mid card and, you know, compete in the mid card and challenge for the IC title, challenge for the United States Championship. That would bring instant relevancy back to those titles. What if a Randy Orton, you know, was an Intercontinental Champion? What if a John Cena was an Intercontinental Champion and he actually won that belt? You know, say John Cena won the IC title. Instant credibility to that title. He fights his way through the mid-card, fighting off guys left and right. You know, it would make guys in the process, you know, Kofi Kingston challenging for the IC title going against John Cena. Damien Sandow going against John Cena. You know, Dolph Ziggler going against John Cena for the IC title. You can build up younger guys in the process, you know, while bringing relevancy back to the IC title. And all of a sudden, you know, you could eventually, you know, have a match that we've all been wanting and all been talking about. The IC title versus the WWE title. Instant credibility back to the Intercontinental title. Imagine an IC title, John Cena, going against a WWE title, Daniel Bryan. Look at that, man. You revisit the days of old in current day WWE. That's what the WWE needs to do, man. They got so much talent. They got so much to work with, but they're not utilizing what they have right in front of them, man. Go outside the box. Do something a little bit different instead of the fucking standard, run-of-the-mill, ordinary, stale bullshit. You know, this is why I come on here, to give you guys my opinions. I have no one to talk about wrestling with. My brother watches wrestling on a weekly basis. Nobody else that I know that I talk to watches wrestling on a weekly basis. Nobody with my mind, anyway. My best friend lives in Connecticut. You know, he knows a lot about wrestling. You know, he watches every week. He watches every pay-per-view. But, you know, I come on here to voice my opinion to you guys, because you guys I interact with on a daily basis. This is what I do. I got a lot of ideas floating around, and this is what I sit and think about when I'm watching Monday Night Raw. So I got all these ideas. I got to shoot them out somewhere, right? And then the Shield in the main event against the Wyatt family, nowhere near their Elimination Chamber match, which was an unbelievable fucking hellacious, you know, match. It was a classic. It's gonna go down as probably the best match of the year, alongside Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt at the Royal Rumble. But the match was decent. Like I said, nowhere near the Elimination Chamber match. And I like what happened at the end. The Shield look like kings at Extreme Rules. They come 24 hours later to Monday Night Raw. Listen, you fucked with the wrong people. That's what I took away from that. Evolution's not going to fucking lay down for you without getting retaliation and revenge. Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista came out. They fucking laid out the Shield. Through all that, Bray Wyatt hit Sister Abigail on Roman Reigns. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns got fucking cut up into little pieces and just fucking, he was fed to the wolves, man. They fucking did the triple power bomb on him. Evolution did. You know, Batista was the main guy behind the power bomb. Triple H and Randy Orton triple power bomb on Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns kicked out of one pedigree, back body drop Triple H, but Triple H was so fucking pissed. He did another pedigree. He hit an RKO on him. Randy Orton hit an RKO on him. He was laid out. There was a close camera shot of Roman Reigns just fucking bleeding from the mouth. I don't know if he busted a lip or fucking lost a tooth. I don't know what happened, but he was all bloodied in the mouth. They got their shit pushed in, and it's about time. The Shield looks weak, man. You know, the Shield can't look strong every week. They had this coming to them. It needed to be done, and it looked great last night. The visual of just Evolution standing tall after they lost, trying to avenge their loss last night, or the night before Extreme Rules, so it looked good on TV. Like I said, Monday Night Raw did nothing to advance new storylines. It's all recycled, which is a little disappointing. But hopefully at Payback, which I knew was going to happen anyway, hopefully at Payback, all these feuds are finally done and over with, and we get new feuds. It's just, you know, we have to have faith in WWE. I hope WWE makes the right decision to move these guys away from current storylines after Payback and give them something fresh. I want to see Kane just gone. Daniel Bryan doesn't need Kane. He needs to defend that title. He needs to, you know, make himself seem important on WWE TV. He needs to be in somebody, he needs to be in a program with somebody, in the ring with somebody that's going to make him fucking work for what he's got, you know? Or make him work harder. Shield versus Evolution, I'm okay with. Bray Wyatt versus John Cena, I'm okay with it, but the match, or the feud should have been done. You know, after Extreme Rules, it should have been done. Bray Wyatt cut a promo last night saying that he's a god and that he does it for the children, and John Cena and all his goons pretty much think that Bray Wyatt's a cruel, evil man, which he is. John Cena really needs to come back, and this is the last thing I'll mention before ending this. John Cena really needs to come back and have a serious promo. He's being advertised for Main Event tonight. He was not on the show last night, which was surprising. They kept him off the show. And he needs to come back and really solidify his seriousness tonight on Main Event. No cheesiness, no fucking one-line jokes, no fucking childish bullshit from John Cena. He really needs to come back and solidify, listen, this guy's a weirdo. He needs to, you know, he's going to kick the shit out of him at Payback. I want my payback for what you did to me at Extreme Rules. Just all seriousness. Bray Wyatt cannot carry this feud on his own. His promo work has been fantastic. What has John Cena done? Nothing. John Cena's just been John Cena, Super Cena, fighting off Eric Rowan and Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt all on his own in the steel cage. And John Cena's ultimately beat by a fucking 12-year-old boy singing, he's got the whole world in his hands in a fucking demon voice. Come on, man. You gotta think of something a little bit better. It's different, but you gotta have John Cena carry some of this load in the feud, man. Bray Wyatt can't do it on his own. And then one last thing I want to mention. Cesaro finally showed a mean streak last night against Rob Van Dam, but the one thing that I took away from this is that the crowd, week after week, I'm seeing that they just don't care anymore about Cesaro. They're caring less and less. I don't believe how they put Cesaro with Paul Heyman and ultimately are ruining his momentum. It's just weird to me. And I'm going to give this a couple more weeks. If I don't see any progression, I'm going to deem this as a failure. I really am. You had Cesaro in the Real Americans with Jack Swagger, and they were gaining face momentum. He had everything going for him. We the people. He had the Cesaro swing. You know, and then all of a sudden he gets paired with Paul Heyman. All Paul Heyman wants to talk about is Brock Lesnar beating the streak in The Undertaker WrestleMania, and then he introduces Cesaro like he's some secondary guy in Heyman's camp, and nobody cares. His theme song is terrible. Excuse me. His theme song is terrible. It doesn't even fit his fucking persona or his look in the ring, you know. I don't understand where they're going with this. They had something great in Cesaro. They had something organically being built in Cesaro. He was doing this on his own with no push from WWE. Now with Paul Heyman, it seems to be forced. I don't understand what they're doing. I really wish they would have kept him away from Heyman the way it seems. In retrospect, at first glance, it looked great. We all thought it was going to be great for Cesaro to be paired with Heyman, but all of a sudden now, it just doesn't seem to be working. He was doing great on his own with Zeb and Jack Swagger, gaining face momentum. I'd rather see him as a face. You know, I'd rather see him as a face. But I'm glad that he showed some kind of mean streak last night because it kind of solidifies himself as a heel. There's no in-between bullshit. Cesaro is a heel. The way he fucking sneak attacked or attacked Rob Van Dam after the match, it's a heel tactic. Finally, he chose a side, and you know, he either sticks with it or he just dumps Paul Heyman and just goes on his own, you know. But I don't like it right now. It's weird. I'm going to give it a couple more weeks before I deem it a failure, but I much rather prefer, like I've been saying, Cesaro as a face, and I'd rather him be with Jack Swagger the way it's looking like, because everything was being done on his own. The crowd on its own were cheering for him. It was all organically being, molded by the fans. The fans wanted this. They were enjoying the Cesaro swing. I don't know, man. It all seems forced. It all seems a little bit too produced by WWE nowadays with Paul Heyman and Cesaro, because they're trying to push him, and it's just not getting over with the crowd. It's just not. It's just weird. I don't know. That's my opinion on it. But that's your Monday Night Raw review, guys. If you enjoyed the review, obviously leave a like at the end of this video. Subscribe if you're new. I got some great shit coming up this week. Remember, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Off The Script, all weekend long with WWE News and Rumors. And if you missed my Extreme Rules pay-per-view review and results with live Q&A, link is down below also. Go check that out. I'm out, guys. I'll see you Friday for Off The Script. Take care. Let me know what you thought about Monday Night Raw down in the comments below. And I will see you on Friday for Off The Script number 12, guys. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.